Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about Christianity while I play video games. Today we're going to talk about one of the most widely known and beloved women from the Bible, and we don't even know her name. One of the most radical and crazy and epic parts of Christianity is that it brings people from completely different backgrounds together under the common cause of Christ. I've done a lot of traveling all over the world, and whenever I go to a church, whether they speak English there or not, they welcome me in with open arms, and we can immediately connect over our shared love of the God of the universe. If you think about it, there is no religion or organization or country in the world that brings people together quite like this. I visited a church under the Anglican Communion in Australia one Sunday, and this lady gave me a whole bunch of food and snacks and a ride back to the trail I was hiking on. I also visited a Baptist church in Armenia, and the pastor offered to get me in touch with every Baptist pastor in every town I would be hiking through while on my hike there. Keep in mind that in both of these cases, I had only met either of these people 1 hour earlier, and they were already doing everything they could to look out for me, a total stranger. Now, as cool as that is, we know the world isn't quite like this. Because of the sin that everybody on earth commits, the world and its people can be pretty awful with stuff like racism, genocide, ethnic cleansing, and all that stuff. The Bible does not shy away from addressing this stuff at all. In fact, a lot of the books in your New Testament were written for reconciling a bunch of conflicts between different people groups. Earlier, we learned that at the incarnation, that's the birth of Jesus, God became man, and that man was ethnically Jewish. And if you know your history, you know people throughout time have all sorts of opinions on Jewish people. Well, now that we got that out of the way, we can understand why it's absolutely insane that Jesus asked a random woman for water. It just so happened that this random woman was not a random woman at all, but a Samaritan. Jesus, a Jew, asked this woman, a Samaritan, for water. Samaritans and Jews didn't exactly get along. You might not know that, but they both really looked down on each other. So, reading Samaritans and Jews sitting down next to each other might not be a big deal to you. But that would be like the modern equivalent of a police officer and a criminal sitting, or a CEO and a homeless person, or Black Lives Matter and the Ku Klux Klan sitting down next to each other, or people who love pineapple on pizza and people who don't sitting down next to each other. People who we could never imagine sitting next to each other. And here's a Jewish man asking a Samaritan woman for water. So obviously, in this case, the woman freaks out. You probably would have too if you were in her situation. But then Jesus does something unexpected as the conversation develops. He turns around and offers her water. And the woman is like, "Bro, how? You don't even have anything to get water with. Who do you think you are?" And Jesus informs her that she just wants well water. But Jesus is insisting that the water he offers would cause her to never thirst again. And she thinks that sounds pretty good. And a very interesting conversation ensues from here. Well, we're going to read through this whole encounter from our Bibles, but while we do, you should make sure to underscore the significance of what is happening. This is one of the most tender moments of Christ displaying his humanity. This display of humanity is one that brings people together, even and especially if they are different. This is no accident. One of Christ's earliest disciples was a tax collector, and another was a terrorist whose job it was to kill people like tax collectors. Under Christ, those two people who are completely different are now on the same team. One of the most compelling reasons I find Christianity to be true is I see people coming to church on Sunday who butt heads and disagree and who can be truly awful and difficult to get along with, but they continue to work together for the kingdom of God. Why would difficult people insist on working alongside other difficult people if what they both believed in wasn't true? They wouldn't. And that's why Christianity remains the longest lasting group of people in the history of the world, because it is something worth working for. Anyways, one more thing from this encounter with Jesus. Ultimately, after Jesus and the woman talk, the Samaritan woman began telling others about her experience with Jesus. But before she does something very important, which you might miss when you're reading through the Bible. She lays down her water pot. After all, what use is a pot for collecting well water if you yourself are already full of living water? Such is the power of Christ, who can bring the most different people together, the most different people to Him, by using something as simple that all humans share, like the need for water. And by the grace of God, we can become sources of water for others. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys next time. Oh, hey there! You're still watching this video. That means it's time for our 6-7 subscriber special. What am I going to do for our 6-7 subscriber special? I'm going to read you Psalm 6-7. So without further ado, here we go. For the director of music with stringed instruments, a psalm, a song. May God be gracious to us and bless us and make His face shine on us, so that your ways may be known on earth, your salvation among all nations. May the peoples praise you, God. May all the peoples praise you. May the nations be glad and sing for joy, for you rule the peoples with equity and guide the nations of the earth. May the peoples praise you, God. May all the peoples praise you. The land yields its harvest. God, our God, blesses us. May God bless us still, so that all the ends of the earth will fear Him. There you have it, Psalm 6-7.